something to take into consideration when we're saying about like how Genghis Khan's genes were spread. But just right off the bat, it's all awful, all horrible. I wish no one ever got killed by anybody ever. It's all awful. All war is hell. All of it. All's hell. There was so much of it going on throughout human history that women there was a survival mechanism in accepting this conqueror as your new husband when he slaughtered your husband. This is the only way your genes passed on. So these women were able, I mean, even if they said they fell in love with him, even if they did marry him, even if they were happy to marry him, there was like almost an evolutionary requirement because we slaughtered each other so much that if you wanted your genes to pass on, you had to accept the slaughterer of your former mate.
And then in modern day society, we will call that rape.
Right.
But you have to use different words for that time,
right,
because there is rape where it's like violent rape as part of war, as part of a mechanism of terror.
I think even as just part of society up until like a few thousand years ago, or even a few hundred years ago. I think human beings, like I've had a bunch of friends who've served overseas, and the stories they tell from Afghanistan, especially with the child raping, is fucking bone curdling, like you blood curdling, just like you just want to leave the room when they're talking. You don't even want to hear this. You don't want to think that this is happening, and it's happening right now because it's an old culture. It's an old culture, and it's separate from the rest of the world. It's very remote, very difficult to access. You have warlords and herders who are living in these nomadic tribes to this day. Not much different than when Alexander the Great conquered it.
So I should say that Genghis Khan, from everything I understand, was not progressive, but he was very pragmatic. This is why he
allowed all religions.
All religions,
yes.
Which is Thomas Jefferson, I should say, deeply admired Genghis Khan for this, the freedom of religion. And he didn't just say freedom of religion, it's freedom of an individual to practice any religion they want, which is it's like individualism. It's a really revolutionary, badass idea for that time, for that place.
Well, he recognized strength and the value of accepting strength and taking, and there's strength in unity, there's strength in community. If people can worship whatever they want, but all be united under one banner, it's better than dividing everybody.
And the feminist thing that I mentioned, he would put women in power. Why? Mm-hmm. Is he a feminist? No, he understood that women are able to men conquer better in his perspective, and women rule better because they keep a stable society. Mm-hmm. So he would marry a woman to the king of the place, and then send the king off to fight, the ruler to fight, knowing for sure he's going to die. But the woman is now ruling, and then there's a lot of like progressive things about like they were allowed to show their face, especially in the Persian lands where they conquered. Like they're allowed to wear these fancy headdresses, and which is
they could floss a little.
Yeah,
chicks got excited about that.
Yeah, exactly.
New rules.
And the other thing, this is the tricky thing is the Mongolian tribes where Genghis Khan came up. By the way, came up from nothing. Father slaughtered. I mean, this is from nothing. That was a common practice to steal wives, to steal women.
Yeah.
And
he had one of his wives stolen, and she came back pregnant.
That was like the origin story. The origin story of Genghis Khan, right, is like the love of his life, who was married to him for his whole life, that he proposed, or he said, we're gonna marry at 9 years old. She was kidnapped, and he had to raise an army in order to rescue her back. That was the sort of the split in the road. He would have been a normal Mongol, but here he has to raise an army to rescue her back.
Wow.
And then he realized he's really fucking good at this whole rescuing thing.